What's up, Pokemon trainers? You got Pokemon Master TC, and today we are doing the roast of Damian from Pokemon, who was, in my opinion, the biggest POS trainer in Season 1. I hate this guy, and if you guys know who he is, you guys definitely hate him too. And if you don't know who Damian is, well, you will by the end of this video. Now, if you are a first-time viewer, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button because I've got tons of Pokemon content on my channel, lots of talks of my Pokemon collection, showcases of everything from the 90s, and lots of Pokemon rankings. So make sure you hit that sub button so you don't miss any of that. All right, let's dive into why Charmander's backstory still hurts over 25 years later and why Damian is the worst trainer ever. Pokemon changed my life. It became my first addiction. The TV show, games, cards, and toys. I was enamored by it all. Becoming a Pokemon master was all that I cared about as a kid. And so, I became one. Join me, Pokemon Master TC, as I relive the most nostalgic part of my childhood and showcase my Pokemon collection. And most important of all, share my love of Pokemon with you. In the beginning of Pokemon, Ash discovers a Charmander on a rock all abandoned. And in this episode, it was a real emotional one because it's not a happy one, at least not until the very end. So Ash discovers this Charmander and it refuses to leave this rock. And they determine that Charmander is probably waiting for its trainer, or at least that's what Pikachu says. And so Ash, Brock, and Misty leave, and it starts to rain. There's this giant storm, and they go to the Pokemon Center. Now, I'm not gonna share with you guys what happens in this Pokemon Center until a little bit later in this video, but I am here right now to discuss Charmander's backstory and why it was so tragic. So Charmander, he's on this rock and it's raining really hard. And if you didn't know this, if the flame on a Charmander goes out, he dies, or the Charmander will die. It's very dramatic, but it's very serious. And I'm kind of surprised that Pokemon put this in there, being such a kid and family-friendly show. But Ash and Brock and Misty rescue Charmander from the rock. He is so weak and he's being attacked by Spearow. God, I hate Spearow. But eventually they get Charmander to this Pokemon Center where he is rescued, but he's in critical condition. And eventually his health is restored and Charmander then goes back to the rock and he wants to wait for his trainer. Now, this determination for approval is so sad. Charmander wants to prove to his trainer that he's strong enough, that he's loyal, that he's worth owning. And Charmander has a hard lesson to learn in that no matter how hard you try, some people are just terrible. And that can apply to our real lives as well. But Charmander, he doesn't have an ego yet. You know, he doesn't turn into Charmeleon and start to defy Ash, and he doesn't turn into Charizard and essentially lose the entire Pokemon League for Ash. Charmander is still very much a loyal Pokemon, and honestly, I wish Charmander would have stayed this way because his personality was just so charming. He was really cute, and he really got along with Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Pikachu. But, you know, Pokemon evolve, their personalities change, and unfortunately, it changed in the wrong direction of Charmander. But maybe because of Charmander's backstory of being abandoned by his trainer, maybe that's why Charmander got such a defiant attitude with Ash, because it was kind of a bit of a role reversal where it was at first Charmander wasn't good enough for his trainer. So when Charmander evolved to Charmeleon and then Charizard, Ash wasn't good enough for his Pokemon. It's kind of like that line of abuse, you know. There's that theory, if you're abused as a child, you go on to abuse your own kids. And I feel like Charmander kind of had a bit of that in the Pokemon anime. So that is why Charmander's story, or his backstory, is so tragic. It's just a pattern of abuse that eventually leads to him betraying Ash in Ash's biggest moment of need. But now let's get down to everyone's least favorite trainer, the trainer that everybody hates, especially me. I hate this guy so much. His name is Damian. And let's go ahead and make fun of the way he talks, because he talks like a douche. He just does. He's all prissy and high-strung, and he just brags about everything. So Damian is the trainer to Charmander. He is the one that abandoned Charmander because he deemed Charmander too weak. And so when Ash, Brock, and Misty go to the Pokemon Center, they discover this trainer who is bragging to his friends. He's got tons of Pokeballs. He's got his feet kicked up on the table. He's got his hands behind his back. And he is just so proud of all the Pokemon that he has caught. Except one. For some reason, he deems Charmander too weak to be part of his team, and so he abandoned Charmander. He says, hey, Charmander, go wait on this rock. I'll come back for you in a little bit. And that's what Charmander did. But Damian had no intentions of coming back for Charmander. And so Charmander almost dies in the name of Damian. But if it wasn't for Ash and Brock's trusty frying pan, Charmander is saved. And he becomes stronger in that episode. He showcases his power by defeating Team Rocket and rescuing Pikachu. And so Damian, being the douche that he is, realizes, oh, Charmander is kind of a bit of a strong Pokemon. That'd be a great addition to my team. And in my head, I'm just picturing the way that Damian speaks. He's kind of like, Charmander. It's a terrible impression, but that's like kind of how he sounds. Anyway, yeah, Damian really shows his true colors in that he is a trainer that just seeks power and powerful Pokemon. And if you're not that, then he's not going to have you on your team. Now, I can understand that to a degree, but the way that he disposes of Charmander is so incredibly cruel. If you don't want your Pokemon, you can always trade them to a different trainer that wants them. You can probably donate them to the Pokemon lab and have the professor take care of it while you're out on your adventures. Or you can just release it back into the wild. And that's what Damian should have done, but instead, Damian is the douche that he is. So that is my most hated trainer in all of Season 1, but I would love to hear from you other trainers out there. Is there anyone worse than Damian in the first season of Pokemon? And is there anyone worse than him later on? I haven't watched all the anime, so I'm really counting on you guys to let me know of the other terrible trainers, and maybe I'll do an episode on them. Now, if you haven't yet, like this video, drop me a comment, and of course, subscribe to my channel to watch tons of Pokemon content, including Pokemon discussions. In fact, I just did one on why Butterfree's goodbye still hurts 25 years later, as well as the saddest Pokedex entries. That is a real tearjerker, so check out that video after this. Trainers, I wish you the best in catching them all.